few months, every so often, like another rich, just whoever, honestly, comes out just being a terrible person, like, oh, he did this, she did that, yada yada yada. We all collectively come together, point and laugh, and then they just move on. But this, oh no, this was a Dewey. So if you somehow don't know, and you read the title, Vince was accused of some very bad stuff. And it's never really shocking to hear it. Like every time a new case comes out about someone like this, it's not shocking, but it's like, wow, what the fuck? For context, he has a case against him with trafficking, the R word, SA, and so on and so forth. And I think this case was filed about 2 days ago by a former employee. And the documents was bad, right? And it's like, Vince is like a very interesting person because he kind of embraces the role of being a terrible person. Like me personally, I don't really watch wrestling or like the WWE. So many people I found out also didn't really know about these things. But a lot of wrestling fans knew he was kind of a terrible person. And I thought kind of just went to the extent of like, oh, he was greedy, or he was just like kind of like an asshole. He was just doing this, doing that, doing that. And like, no, he was far worse than that. Yeah. So apparently, and I had to do some digging for this because, like I said, I wasn't really familiar. This has been going on for quite some time. Like this has been going on for a while, and I mean like decades at this point, where he's had cases against him, and he would either just end it in a settlement. And more than likely, if someone has a case filed against them, they just settle off the bat. They usually did it, and the money is just used to hush them away so they can just go away and they get back to what they're doing, right? And I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire too, so he doesn't really affect him that much anyway. And to my knowledge, he also recently stepped down. Like before he did just now, when this case came out, he just stepped down for a similar case. But I believe the WWE and like the UFC merged together, and then he just kind of wormed his way back in somehow. And then no one really batted an eye. It was weird. Another thing I want to point out too regarding Vince, because a lot of people seem surprised that a lot of people like myself didn't know, is I feel like unironically he was kind of saved just by how goofy he was as a person, like the character he played. Because a lot of people know Vince for like the memes, unironically, like the memes and like little snippets of him online. So like you hear Vince did some bad stuff and it's like, oh, he's just like the crazy old man, whatever. So I feel like unironically, him playing the part helped his case in a weird way. Like it's a really weird formula that somehow worked for him for a while. But obviously, it doesn't work anymore. Apparently, the case, this one detailed that he assaulted a former employee, in which this was just one case in which he apparently used her for 2 hours, and half the time she was spent covered in feces, aka shit. She was covered in shit. And then on top of that, I think there was like 2 more cases that came out saying like a bunch of other like messed up stuff he did. I'll probably just put the article here so you can see. And a lot of these would just end up in a settlement of like 3 million. I think like 16 million. I think he spent like, I want to say like 16 to 30 million in settlements over like the past like 5 years alone. And that's a lot of money. Like that's a lot of money. And I feel like he wouldn't do that unless he was innocent. I feel like this case also points to light like we need to kind of start holding people accountable, because apparently, like I said, for the people that didn't know, they didn't know, but apparently a lot of people did know, and y'all kind of allowed it in a weird, like it was kind of allowed. I shouldn't say y'all, but it was kind of allowed, and it was until like something crazy happened that it was like, okay, we need to actually shut this down. And with this case coming out, especially of this bad, apparently I'm pretty sure she had to sign an NDA. I'm pretty sure like most of them had to sign an NDA. Which is why, because like if you speak out against an NDA most of the time, you get punished for it, even if it's bad. I'm pretty sure NDAs can be voided if it is to like extreme extents, like something like smuggling or assault, things of the nature, right? Something that's super bad, but I don't think most people would know that, so they take the safer route, take the money, and then just go away. Luckily, someone was brave enough to speak out, And now what's gonna happen is gonna be like a snowball effect of cases after cases after cases, right? Because what usually happens if someone speaks out, 100 other people are gonna come out. And all the things that have come out that I can't even talk about in this video because it would just get taken down immediately. There's probably a lot more that people don't even know that hasn't even been told yet. And Vince is pretty old. Like, I don't know how old exactly. I think it's like his 50s, late 50s. And he's been doing this for like a very long time, like since the 90s. Like, so there's probably like a long list of terrible things he's done that people haven't even considered or thought of yet. So as I said, there's a lot that I kind of missed the first time, so I'm adding this in later. But I asked one of my friends, because like I said, they're more familiar with wrestling, and he sent me like a little list on like the things he said, and wow, it was really something. So like, apparently him and his daughter had gotten into like a little fist fight for whatever reason, so he fought his own daughter. And the WWE is known for having like it's just known for being very dramatic, and he was pretty much the script writer to my knowledge. So it's been 2 instances apparently where he had a Mexican tag team group come out just rolling out to their theme song on lawnmowers. That's one. Secondly, he had another black tag team group known as Crime Time come out in bulletproof vests. Another funny thing that apparently he did was he had a wrestling match with God. And then the last one, I've never seen this before. He just apparently just randomly called John Cena the N-word for like no reason. And I'm pretty sure like it was somewhat scripted, because like after he left, it was like another reaction. Like it was like a black couple reacting to it. But I'm pretty sure John Cena didn't know. So while Vince is walking away, John Cena is just standing there like actually looking dumbfounded. Is that
business? Keep it up, I'm a nigga.
This right here is the face of a man who's just like, what the fuck? So yeah, that's just like a brief little segment of what he's done. And I want to add this too. I feel like it was kind of ignored because like I said, Vince is probably just portrayed as like this crazy dude, right? So in a way, it worked in his favor. Like surely he won't act like this in person. He acted like this in person. He's actually 10 times worse in person. So it turns out he played the role on the set and off the set too. And I guess for some odd reason it worked for him for this long. I feel like what's gonna happen, honestly, and I know some people were saying like, oh, this is the end of the WWE. I highly doubt it, just because like, yes, he was a big part and like a core part of it. I think it's gonna be fine without him. And especially with all these allegations in light, people are gonna be happy he's gone, I would assume. Now, realistically, if he does somehow find his way back in, would it be surprising? Not at all, because this happens a lot where like someone does something bad, they go away for a minute, and then they just come right back. Probably not in the same position as like being like the chairman or like someone who's like an executive, but having some sort of role in it that helps them financially, right? So if that does happen, don't be too surprised, honestly. There was some names that was also said along Vince's name. So I do expect there are going to be some cases regarding some of his colleagues as well. And I'm pretty sure the other chairman or whatever spoke out about Vince and allegations. And they was like, yeah, we don't condone this. You know how it goes. Like, we don't condone this, yada, yada, yada. So let's be real. They definitely knew what type of person he was. I can't imagine they didn't, especially if they've been business partners for like decades on end. So it's just like a whatever apology. But yeah, and the main reason I even want to talk about this is because like I have some family who's like very interested in like the WWE and stuff. And when they told me these things, like I said, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, huh. It's always just like messed up to hear. Like, I don't know, it's always weird to hear. It's never like, oh wow. So yeah, this would be like a wake up call, honestly, because even researching it for like, I want to say like an hour, I found a lot. And like, this is me not even being familiar with like his past history, aside from like I said, like the memes and jokes and stuff. So a long time fan probably has like a lot more knowledge, like all the drama and allegations he's been into. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if like he just ends up coming back somehow anyway. But I think this is a good start to just like get rid of him, because he's a pretty bad person. Like I said, I can't say everything he did, but if you take 2 seconds and Google his name, you'll just like a long wall of text showing like, hey, he probably belongs in prison. So that's pretty much everything regarding like Mr. Vince. I wouldn't be surprised if more does come out like the next few days, because by the time I upload this, it'll be like 3 days since like the news pretty much broke out. So in like the next week or so, more stuff came out. I wouldn't really be too surprised. If that does happen, I'll be sure to make like a little follow-up video. But like I said, this is something I wanted to talk about. And that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace.